Welcome back to Wild Speculations. I'm Daniel.
I'm Scott.
This week we talk about Critical Role Campaign 2, Episode 65, Chases and Trees.
Yes.
I hope you guys can't hear my neighbor's air conditioning, but if you do hear something, that's what it is. Lot of lore drop happened.
Yeah.
Especially at the tail end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Much more post-break than pre-break.
Yeah. So we have did we actually sleep? Did we not talk?
Yeah.
And I thought about making the same joke I made last week, but I thought it'd be a little mean-spirited, so I took that out of my notes. But Jester and Yasha have their watch. And they discuss Jester's alternate history theories for Yasha.
Yes. That she's a harpsichordist.
Yeah.
Harpist. I really think that was just Jester being Jester.
So I would like to know where that connection came from for her. Like why she decided to do that instead of anything else. And I don't. Yeah, there was a moment where I was like, "Ooh, barbarian." It's like, oh no, because her charisma is a 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there was so much about that scene that I think. So Marisha has talked about how Bo is a liar.
Yes.
And Jester and her have discussed the fact that Jester is a good liar too.
Yes.
I don't know who to say is the better liar, because Jester seems to want to believe her lies, and that she, of the two of them, is definitely more adept at self-deception.
See, that's the thing. I still think Jester on some level, and yes, it's self-deception, but doesn't believe she's lying.
Yeah.
She's delusional. I mean, I could tell you a lie, but if it's all I know, like Alex tells me Tim said something. That's the truth to me. Tim said that. I tell you Tim said something. I'm lying to you because Tim never said it, but as far as I know, it's the truth.
Yeah. Fair.
I see it more as that with Jester. Like, her brain, she can't distinguish her fantasies from reality at times, I think. I think there are times she actually lies, but I think the times she's actually lying and consciously lying are the times she's doing it to try to make someone else feel better or spare their feelings.
I can see that.
I think the random lies are just things that she can't separate the fantasy world from the reality.
Fair. So, in that conversation, Jester teases modified memory.
Yes.
At least that was my interpretation of that exchange. Do you think... Because modified memory is a 5th level spell. And they do have 5th level spells, don't they?
At 9th level. And I believe it's a domain spell.
I think it is, yeah.
For her
Yeah, so she always had it prepared.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, because Jester's talking about that, and this week we also had Bo doing what you've been saying that she could have done, running up the vertical surfaces.
Yes.
So I'm wondering
when she did that, I was like, finally! Finally! I've been saying it since they hit this level.
Yeah. Who do you think counseled them? Like, do you think that was just in the text thread?
No.
Because they both seem to be like, oh, we have these abilities now.
Yeah, I don't think it's a thing. Like, in my mind, it's not a thing of, Marisha or Laura saying, oh, I don't have this. I think it's a thing of when you're in the game and in the moment, you don't think of all your abilities, especially your new ones.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's like they had no clue that they had those abilities earlier. It's just that that's the point in game when they were like, yeah, I have this. Because I know I've done that. I've been like, oh, I do it this. Well, why didn't you just do that? You have that ability now. Because I forgot I had that ability now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I do that sometimes with my character too.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, bonus action attack. Well, you dropped him to 0, so it's an actual like regular weapon attack, not the button.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just like, oh, I bonus action attack, but I've had a bonus action attack since the start of the campaign with that character.
Yeah.
Of one kind or another. So, yeah. So we have Matt foreshadowing essentially the entire episode.
Okay.
During that watch.
Mm-hmm.
Because Jester sees the Udak.
Mm-hmm.
And Yasha says, they relate the story. Yeah, it's 20 people go out, 10 people come back.
Yeah.
50% mortality rate. Just stumbling upon these things. You don't go out after them.
Right.
And then on Ford's watch, he tells Ford that you hear screeching.
Mm-hmm. Which I was, not so much about the screeching and stuff, but I was surprised that Ford and Knot took the watch together. And I was like, oh, something's going to go down. They're going to have their little pick fight and, they're going to miss something or they're going to cause something to hear them and it didn't happen. I was like, huh. But when, Ford was and then Knot's like, yeah, I'll do it. I was like, oh, something's going to happen. Sam's going to do something. And nothing happened.
Yeah, I didn't get that at all. That feeling at all. So it's a minor thing, and even I do it the way Matt does it, which is, okay, who's on first watch, who's on second watch, that kind of thing. But I think there might be more drama if the DM asks whoever's on watch and going off watch, who are you waking up?
Yeah.
Because...
Yeah, if they don't, before everyone goes to bed, say, hey, this is our watch set. Well, who do you wake up to relieve you?
Yeah.
Or do you wake up anybody?
Yeah.
You just let the rest of the night go.
Yeah. Which in the dome they could.
Yeah. Frumpkin's out there somewhere.
Yeah. So, in the morning, they find the Moorbounders in a horizon back tortoise.
Yes, or the shell of what was formerly known as.
Yes. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this is the first time that Matt has actually named the creature.
No,
he referred to them as war tortoises before.
Yeah.
but I don't think he's actually named them Horizon Bed tortoises.
Yeah, maybe not.
Which got me thinking. The dynasty must have given them that name. What connection do the tortoises have to the Luxon?
Why do they have to have a connection to the Luxon?
Because the sun comes over the horizon. And if the Luxon is a being who came before,
Yeah.
the tortoises, and
I think that's
having a giant tortoise attached to your creation myth is not unoriginal.
No, I do think that's a reach, though.
Well, I mean, name of the show.
Yeah, yeah. Because the horizon's going to be an everyday word, and this is this giant tortoise. It's not. It's less of a stretch to be like, oh, because it's big like the mountains on the horizon. We'll call it that.
I don't know, that's just where my brain went.
Okay.
When Matt actually said horizon tortoise, I was like, so I'm wondering how much, and also I think when they first appeared, we talked about the lion turtle.
Yes.
And the lion turtles are a creation figure in the world of Avatar.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's why I was just like, what?
Okay.
I
think that's one of your bigger reaches, but
yeah,
fair enough.
Well, and I don't even know what necessarily to ascribe any necessary meaning.
Yeah.
To that, it's just the name of them, the importance of the dynasty, my place on that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean it could be. It never crossed my mind.
But yeah, so one of the things that I really liked about Matt setting up the day's travel is like he had shown the Uda on first watch. You hear the Gloomstalkers the second watch. Not climbs up and sees the tree off in the distance.
Yeah, and mistaken it for a tower.
Yep.
And Bo finds the map.
Yeah. Then they find the body of the Uda. And, I mean, name your cliche, Qui-Gon talking about there's always a bigger fish, or what have you. You were scared of that thing, and these things killed it. Yeah. And Laura even says, well, when they see the minis, they realize what exactly it is.
Yeah.
And Laura says, we fought them last campaign. Oh, yeah, last campaign. Farmfala, Liam says. And then she's like, we were like 18th level.
Yeah. Oops.
So, yeah.
Literally twice as powerful.
Yeah. Yeah. Literally. I like the chase scene.
Yeah.
Matt seems to be getting stricter with the I'm going to make a check, I fail it, you make a check, or they make a check, some time goes by, they want to make another one. Because 3 times this episode, he's like using your check from before.
Yeah.
Which at some points I was on board with, and at other points I thought it warranted another check.
Right.
But I like the way he was doing that because it was from the point of view of the game master, keeping those perception rolls
Yeah.
allows you to single out the players without relying on their passive perception scores,
Right.
which means it's not going to always be the same people. Whereas if all you do is rely on the passive perception to dole out that information, it's always going to be the same
Right.
people seeing it.
And the other, and that along with that, like you go in a room, you can only look over a room so many times,
Yeah. The other thing I liked about the Horizon Turtle scene, or tortoise, is the ecology and the sociology that Matt was able to build into that sequence.
Yeah.
Because you saw, and he reiterated later when they were on the top of the tree, you see all these people.
Yeah.
You see groups moving. Where this is really the first indication that these are largely uninhabited by people, but those who are here have a network of places to find shelter. I also liked what he did with the Moorbounders this episode. Making them think that maybe they're dead.
Carried off by a large bird. When Marisha found that map, and he's like, "Yeah, you've got no clue," and she's like, "Well, what about a criminal background?" Which, a justifiable question, And I'm sitting here thinking, like, one of my favorite feats, the linguist feat.
Oh yeah.
Would have been really handy to have right there.
Or
because you can crack codes.
Yeah. Or you call not to see if this is in Thieves' Cant.
Yeah.
Or to inspect for Thieves' Cant. That's what I was half expecting them to do that.
Yeah.
But they didn't. And I think they didn't have to.
Yeah.
So, yeah. We talk about very often that combat is a chance for roleplay.
Yes.
And the first Gloomstalker encounter is a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
Ford's like, kill it. Dot's like, run. And Caduceus is like, no, wait.
Yeah. Let's just check this out for a minute.
And I think that is Caduceus's modus operandi at this point.
Yeah.
Taliesin much prefers the lower initiative.
Yeah.
He likes to be in that back position to be able to see everything. So, yeah. Although was not so run later. She was, you guys be bait, and I'll protect Caleb while he casts the dome. And all I was just thinking about was like, okay, now this yakety sax.
Yeah.
Starts playing.
Yeah. And well, in the chase scene in the second one, that was a very creative use of the summoned demon.
Yeah.
And I say that because it wasn't summoned to fight them. It was, here, eat this instead.
So, in Shadowrun, as a summoner, it talks about how wizards, mages who don't treat their summoned spirits well, get a reputation.
Yeah.
this is the first time he has served up the Valgoret as a meal to something else.
Yeah.
But arguably, it's not the first time he has sacrificed one.
True.
Do you think Matt brings that up the next time it succeeds on its saving throw?
Maybe. It definitely will come back to bite him, whether it's the next time or let him build a little bit more of a reputation, more definitive of a reputation.
I see that.
But yeah, before too long, I expect him to have the same reputation with summoned demons that he has back at Darktoe.
Yeah.
This motherfucker.
Yeah. And Caduceus is basically Gandalf.
Yeah, I can see that.
Just lighting up the place. Because like when he's like, I cast light on the Moorbounder, and he's cast it on the saddle basically, he's letting that narrating. I was just thinking of when Gandalf comes down the hill with the Rohirrim at Helm's Deep. Just the part of this is because of the squishy nature of the narrative in that first combat encounter with the Gloomstalkers. But I would have liked it to be more defined as how much time had passed since Caduceus cast light. Because Caleb was like, yeah, let's just run for like 20 to 30 minutes and see if they keep up with us.
Yeah.
I could tell by Travis's reaction to that, and he's almost twitching, that wasn't going to be the case, and he was ready to fire his Eldritch Blasts. But Jester had cast Bless. Bless has a 1 minute time, I think?
Yes.
Duration. And it wasn't clear how much of that minute they had been running.
Yeah.
So she checked for concentration. She had kept it. Common mistake with Spirit Guardians was made. We have made the same mistake. Everybody makes the same mistake. Every player who casts it wants to read it the way that most people try to do it, which is you cast it, they take the damage.
Oh, yeah.
Where the actual wording of the rules as written is you cast it if they remain in the area at the start of their turn, they take damage. Just like when you haven't cast it and then you move closer to them, that is not them entering the area, which is another common misuse of the spell. And Moonbeam, same kind of thing, because the wording is the same. Walnut gets it wrong 60% of the time that she gets on Acquisition Incorporated.
Gotcha.
But yeah, we also question for you and for you guys. Travis, since 2 weeks ago, when he killed he's doing the finger guns.
Yep.
Now with Eldritch Blast. Is that now canon?
I think so, yeah. I much prefer his initial use of Eldritch Blast, where he just held out the pommel of the sword and it went from that. But he's really deep diving into this cowpoke persona.
Yeah, and I think it's largely because of Yeehaw Game Range.
Yeah.
Reinforces it. So, yeah. So that, in my head canon, that's always been the somatic component, unless he's got the falchion.
Well, it's just like in my somatic component for Mind Spike is because that's all it is somatic. I don't have to say anything. There's no material component. It's just like I'm watching you. Bam.
Yep. So when they roll initiative, Taliesin makes the comment because Ashley celebrates her highest roll ever.
Yes.
And I'm sure on tonight's talks that will have to be touched upon, whether or not it was in fact her highest initiative ever. But I'm pretty sure she's right.
Yeah.
The 26, I think, is what she rolled. And Taliesin was like, I think that's the highest you can actually ever get, period. And I was like, no. By my calculation, a war wizard or swashbuckler.
Or Gloom Hunter, Gloomstalker Ranger. Because they had their wisdom.
That's right. If they have 20 in both stats, they roll a 20. They roll an 8 on the D8 for gift of alacrity, and they have the alert feat.
Yep.
That's 43.
Now, what if you're... Okay, just for hyperbole. They're 9th level, right? Okay. So say you're a 3rd level Gloomstalker, 3rd level Swashbuckler, 2nd level War Wizard, and you have that many 20s. Or even not 20s. If you have a 20 in Dex, let's see it, and 3 16s. 3, 6, 9, plus 5 is 14, plus the alert fee. Well, you wouldn't have a fee. Unless you threw that 9th level into one of the 2 you had 3 in.
Well, if you're going 3 classes.
But you only need 2nd level in Wizard. So you get out 4th in Ranger or Rogue.
Yeah.
So 14, 19, 27 if you rolled an 8. Plus a 20, that's a 47.
Oh. Yeah.
That's a lot of, that's like really, really, really amazing rolls in your character stats because you have to roll it because you don't have the ASIs.
Yeah.
Because you're spending the only possible one on the alert fee.
Yeah.
But it is possible.
Yeah. So you could do it probably with a elf or something.
Yeah.
Something gets the +2 dex, get an 18, put it there.
Yep.
Yeah. So the other thing that I wanted to talk to you about is Yasha's new sword.
Yes.
Now, I could be totally wrong on this, but in our one shot that we did, there was a sword very similar to that one that you described that we got.
Yeah, which I took straight from the Tal'Dorei campaign setting.
So, do you think it's that same sword?
The only thing that's giving me pause to say yes is it hasn't spoken to her. And it is an intelligent artifact.
Okay, that's right. Okay.
Now that's not to saying it won't, and it hasn't, it just hasn't. If the sword talks to her, yes, it is the exact same sword. Because that sword is Matt's creation. I took it out of his campaign setting. That you guys got in our one shot there.
Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, is it going to talk? Oh, crap. I used that sword. I totally messed with my characters with that sword.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, that's where. Okay, I'm glad it wasn't, and I'm not totally off base.
Yeah. Yep, that is an intelligent sword that I used out of the campaign setting.
So we were talking about how Marisha and Laura remembered
Mm-hmm.
their new abilities. And Liam forgot one that he started with. One that he basically stopped using once he got his transmutation stone,
Mm-hmm.
because he had set it to dark vision for forever.
Yeah.
But he forgot that he could cast dancing lights.
Yes.
So there's an interesting conundrum that can come up when casting a ritual spell.
Okay.
And that is the idea that is it a concentration thing that you're doing?
I would say yes.
And in earlier editions, it was quite specifically said.
Yes. Well, in earlier editions, you could even disrupt a spell just by attacking them if they were casting spells. They didn't have the right feat to cast
Right.
a spell immediately.
Right.
You know,
Um,
it provoked an attack of opportunity.
Dancing lights is a concentration spell.
Yes.
Matt obviously didn't want to mess with them, and Matt, he's not into that.
Yeah.
And there are too many sources of light in the group to really bother with it.
Yeah.
I think Caduceus can cast light. Yasha can cast light.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody has to have a torch.
Yeah.
So like it's just too much to mess with him on it. And he even was like, "Your spell book's getting wet, but it's okay because it's treated."
Yeah.
And I've heard of game masters like, "Yeah, your spell book's getting ruined
Yeah.
because the pages are getting wet." But
I think that's a little overkill.
I do too. Their spell books are basically low-level magic items in a way, just because of the power they contain.
They're common magic items.
Yeah. So they should have the same kind of durability that you would give to another
Right.
low-level common magic item. Yeah. Yeah. So, but that I was just in the moment. That's sort of where my brain went.
Yeah.
Because I was like, well, he could mess with him, but yeah, there's no point. I did love that Knot basically took a page out of Vax's book.
Yeah.
Hey, I could turn invisible. Should I? No. Should I? You already asked him, he said no. Yeah, but I'm asking again. That exchange and Travis's reaction to it has to be because of some joke or some story that Sam told him about parenting in the time that they announced and to now. Because that is going to happen with Ronan.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm sure it's happened with Sam's kids and Liam's kids.
And if it's not, they're going to ask you the same question again. They're going to go over there and ask.
Yeah.
But Sam, invisible, and goes. Finds presumably where the Moorbounders spent the night.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't actually find out where they were.
Right.
And right off, so I don't think the clerics can get mad at the other players when they pressure them to use their sending spells earlier in the day. Because, like, Caduceus created food right off the bat that first day. And then when Yarnball doesn't come, when she's like...
It's a message.
Yeah. Well, no,
she
sends.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're using a 4th level spell when
to call your
a cantrip would do.
Right.
Because message is the same spell, just 120 feet.
Right.
So, yeah. And I did love that Matt had them being afraid of the Gloomstalkers.
Yeah.
The second time. And also, stickler that I am, as much as I really wanted to give Laura MVP for this episode, when she cast Command on the Moorbounder, Command is one word.
Yeah.
Suggestion, you can give them a sentence.
Yeah.
And, I mean, arguably, one of those words, 1 to 3 of the words that she used in that sentence could have been the command word to get the result that she wanted. So I don't think there's reason to be that.
And arguably, you could say, as a player, this is what she wanted. In game, it would just be the heal, you know.
Well, heal would be to make it stop, which is not what she wanted.
No, that's halt. Heal is when they're right there beside you, you know.
But, yeah. So now we're into the big stuff that happened.
Yes, that beautiful, beautiful tree.
Yeah. We find out that it is the sister tree to the birth party.
Yes.
Which is interesting because it makes me wonder what sort of cultish activity happens in Vasselheim.
All kinds of great.
Wild Mother is that deep in the enemy territory, as it were.
Just look at the one shot.
Oh well. Yes.
Too long to go into it.
But as much as I agree with that arc that we took in that, not technically canon.
Not technically canon, but I think it's valid.
For sure. But yeah. Do we have... We've been talking about Ford and him changing patrons to possibly changing warlock type.
Yeah.
Do you think Ford's vision from the Wild Mother was pre-planned for that moment? Or do you think it had something or anything to do with him summoning a demon on her holy ground? And her trying to nudge him away from that?
I think it was a response. Not to say that he didn't have that planned out in case something happened.
Yeah.
In case the
Oh, yeah.
But I think it was a response. Whether it was a response to the demon or it was a response to Uk'otoa invading her area to speak to Ford, I don't know.
Okay, fair.
But it was a response.
And
the reason why I say it's still a response with Uk'otoa as compared to something planned out is I feel like Matt probably has a timetable of he gets a dream and they'll increase or decrease depending on what, you know. And if they had gotten there a day earlier or a day later, he may not have had the dream there.
yeah, I think in Matt's notes it was probably if they go here, these are the dreams that they have.
Yeah.
Well, this is the dream that Ford has.
Well, I think it's
because
like
Caduceus'
X
dream,
days he has a dream. X days he has a dream. Not like a set 4-4-4. Or if he goes this far away, he has a dream. if he pushes this far away, he has to drink, kind of thing.
Okay.
Although, speaking of the dreams, let's get into that for a moment, because start with Ford. Okay. Well, let's start with Cad. He had the first dream.
And I joked with myself while I was watching it that it almost felt like Matt was trying to make up for the potential miscommunication that he gave Caduceus when he cast Commune.
Yeah.
Because Caduceus did not like the answer he got.
Yeah. But was that a miscommunication?
I think it was.
Okay.
Because I can't remember the exact phraseology that Matt used, but it was something like clarifying the muted colors you had seen before. Yeah. So he's calling back to that Commune, and he's trying to tell Talus and Caduceus that this is the information that you seek, but you will clarify what you were given earlier.
Yeah. I don't think it was... Well, I guess it was a miscommunication, the fact that I think Taliesin didn't take it the way Matt intended.
Yeah.
I don't think it was miscommunication on Matt's part at all. Matt would, Taliesin and Caduceus had this thing, I've got to heal the land. Yeah. And it's like, no, the land's too big. You have your own path.
Yeah.
And Taliesin didn't like that.
Yeah.
And he's saying, well, no, your path still has to do with the kiln and everything.
Yeah.
But it's just not what you think it is.
Yeah, well, and we got a vision of the kiln.
Yes.
In that dream. A clearer vision than we have gotten before.
And two things in that.
Yeah.
The crystals.
Yep.
The purple crystals, which, not his current staff, because he just got a new one, but his old staff had a purple crystal on it. And the green dust.
Residuum.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I was like, they have residuum. And it's been identified. And that's residuum.
Yep. So lots of things wrapped up in that whole sequence, because that also had to do with the dome being placed over the ground and the grass coming back, protected from the rain.
Yeah.
And Matt says the rain's, there's a smell to it. It feels different. So I think the guy they're after is trying to find the kiln as well.
Okay.
Or whatever that vision was.
Interesting.
Although it seemed more like a forge akin to where they forged the trammels.
Yes.
In the campaign 1. But that dust falling off, or maybe Matt did say that he narrated as 2 different locations.
Mm-hmm. It could be the third spot.
For Uk'otoa?
No. The 3, the guard in the kiln and the other.
Oh.
Could be a guard in the kiln and a forge.
Yeah. But there was a little something on my first watch when Matt was talking about the temple at the foot in the hills, trees or whatever around it, vines. I was like, that sounds an awful lot like the terrain that the temple to Uk'otoa was supposed to be in.
Yeah.
But on my rewatch, I think that was a misread on my part.
Yeah.
And it sounds more like where the Drow is going.
Yeah.
And I think the seal that he has is, Jester correctly surmised, that it is the key.
Yeah.
To whatever door blocks the way.
It's the thrush. You put it up, the last light in.
Yes. So, the purple crystals are what is poisoning the rain.
Okay.
That was my conclusion based on Matt's narration of Caduceus' dream and the effect that being out of the rain had on the grass around the tree.
Okay.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Only time will tell on that one. But yeah. And also, something is working that forge and causing the residuum to fall.
Yeah.
What are they making? Who is it? And is that even on Exandria? Are my 3 questions about that specific piece. Because something about that, I don't know.
Yeah.
It struck me as potentially not on Exandria or metaphor.
Yeah.
Although Matt has steered away from metaphor.
Yeah.
In his narration of stuff that specifically calls for stuff steeped in metaphor. The commune and divination, and Matt seems much more explicit with that. But one of the things that I wanted to mention about Caduceus and Ford and the Wilde novel, because you were saying you think it was timed, and you were, if they get here, what happened? Ford has been going to gesture a little bit, but more to Caduceus on figuring out deities, because I think Ford has abandoned the arcane approach.
Yeah, he definitely has.
And because Caduceus has been so invested in helping Ford, he's carted around this hilt forever, and now they've got the blade, and now they want to go up north to the Uthadurnians and reforge it. Caduceus has to be talking to the Wilde on Ford's behalf.
Yeah.
And that didn't come to me until we were talking about it. And there has to be a text thread or over lunch that Matt and Taliesin were talking. And he's like, well, how much are you saying? Yeah.
And then
But Ford's
dream. Maybe it'll be chill like Caduceus.
He wasn't wrong, though. I mean, as Ford dreams go, that was pretty fucking chill.
So, the first thing is he's in the water again.
Yep.
There's return. And then release. And there's this tearing sound. Now, at this point, I'm like, oh fuck. He's not telling him to return and release him. He's saying, return the orb. He's gonna, and I thought he was like pulling the orb out of Ford.
Oh, yeah.
At first.
Huh.
And then we get the eye hentai,
Yeah.
Not for lack of a better term, because there's plenty of them. I just wanted to use that. And the verdant light, the emerald light, and given the proximity to the tree and everything else we've just discussed, my money is that it was Melora, the Wild Mother.
Oh, yeah.
Not that it was explicitly stated, but I don't think there's really much room, if any, for it to be anyone else.
Yeah, I mean, not just location, timing. It's also basically the same voice that he uses when he talks to Caduceus.
Yes. The description wasn't 100%, but, the vines, the growth,
I did get a little bit of Heart of Tefiti.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
And that's like once he was through the eye, because he narrates her eyes being closed.
Yeah.
And her speaking to him. And then her eyes open.
Yeah. in the sunset.
Yeah.
So, and she can protect him, but only for a little while.
Yeah. Presumably only as long as he's there.
Right. Yeah. Is that setting up to reflavor the patron? Or is that setting up for when he gets his next ASI to go paladin?
He can't go paladin.
After his next ASI, he can.
Oh, 1 strength.
But the 2 into strength, he's at 13, he meets the requirements, and he can go paladin. We've discussed that.
So, yeah, but I mean, that's a long way out, though.
Yeah.
It's 3 levels. Before he can, it's 4 levels before he can take level in paladin.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought a similar thing, because I was like...
Here's a question. Requirement says a 13 strength. It does not say it has to be natural.
Sure.
If he gets Gauntlets of Ogre power,
yeah.
If he gets some kind of belt from her as a gift to escape, we could see him switch a lot earlier.
It's true.
We've been basing it just on natural.
Yeah, well, and I mean, also the DM can waive any requirement he wishes.
Sure.
And because he is a hexblade
and can use charisma on his main weapon,
I could certainly see somebody bending the rules to allow that to happen.
Yeah, and I would agree with that for the narrative purposes.
Yeah. I still kind of like the idea of him becoming celestial.
Yes.
Warlock. And still keep Pact of the Blade.
Yeah.
Because we haven't seen Ford forswear any of that evil shit that he can do. Like, he's still all too ready to summon the demon, control like he's all too ready to do that stuff.
Which is why I really want to see, like, my heart wants, I'm not saying it's going to happen or that I think it will, but I really, really want him to go Path of Redemption.
Oath of Redemption, yeah.
Oath of Redemption Paladin.
Well, that would certainly make sense. And maybe that's the route that Vandrin went.
Yeah.
Maybe when we meet up with Vandrin, if and when.
Yeah.
Vandrin is some mix of Hexblade and Redemption Paladin, where he may not use his Hexblade spells or abilities at all.
Yeah, or just channel them into smites.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's the reason a multi-class Warlock as a Paladin. Oh, fighter, you get your action surge and second wind on a short rest. Cool. I get my smites back on the short rest. So, MVP for this episode for you. No, in the last few minutes. I wanted to save this till last.
Yeah.
Before we get into predictions. I struggle with this one.
Yeah, I do too.
Because, as I said earlier, and as I say often, Laura is always in my top.
Yeah.
And arguably, she should get it for all the reasons that we've discussed giving MVP. Except, arguably, not did more. But
see, I'm
Sam did more to derail the session.
And see, I'm pulling for Travis, actually.
Travis was my... Yeah.
Yeah. Travis is the one I want to go with. You know, who's close, him and Laura for me. But yeah, I think Travis is mine. Especially when they're climbing the tree, and we get that ship moment.
Yeah.
Jester falls. Not even hesitation. Before Matt can finish describing that she's falling, I dive after her. And everyone's like, "What? It's 150 feet, you idiot!" And then he does.
I knew what he was gonna do.
I did too.
Yeah.
And it's exactly what I would. It's exactly what I have done with characters.
Yeah.
You know.
I wasn't expecting him to teleport up, though.
Oh, I was.
That was a little.
You know.
That doesn't solve the problem, but yeah.
You know, it's like with an old group I had back when I lived in Flag, we were playing a 3.5 Star Wars. You know, the old Twin Star Wars. And I had to force adapt, and this guy took this last. There was like these little, like tour shuttle, like glider things down a canyon, and the guy we were after escaped. Took the last one. So and I just like I leap off the edge after him and just run and leap. And then I used telekinesis and threw myself and landed on the thing.
Yep.
But everyone was like, "Wait, you realize you're gonna die?" And it's like, no, not.
Yeah. Yep. So, predictions for this coming week.
There'll be a rock fight.
Do you think so?
You don't?
No.
Okay.
I think
there was initiative. They were Matt talked about initiative. They didn't actually roll it, but he was talking about initiative right before the end of the episode.
I completely blank on that. Gosh, if only there was a way I could.
Anyway.
But I think they make it to Bazzoxan.
Yeah.
I think Bazzoxan is the settlement in Caduceus' dream.
Okay.
That he saw. And I think Drowboy is looking for the same place that Caduceus is looking for.
Okay.
And I think this will be the first concrete connection between Caduceus and Yasha.
Okay. I can agree with all that. Do you still think, like we talked last week, Bazzoxan is the stereotypical evil city?
Yes. Okay. Yeah, for sure. I think so. I think we have to have that. Yeah. Especially if this is the point of contamination for the whole of the broken fields and everything. It's gonna be. It has to be that. Yeah, for sure. We will get an answer one way or another what that guy is, whether or not he's vampire, was it the fiend? Can't remember what. Or Rakshasa.
Yeah. Or Trent Lackey.
Yeah, but I didn't think of the Rakshasa until Sam's costume.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a minute. That's a possibility we didn't explore.
It is.
And they are spellcasters.
Yep.
So, that will be interesting to have them face another Rakshasa in a different avenue. Where last time they were just getting paid and they didn't realize what they were getting into. Where this time it's personal. Personal going in. That will prove interesting and a lot of fun. And an opportunity for Ford to face these Balguras he keeps summoning. I think Gesture sends to somebody she hasn't sent to in a while. And I want to say that it's going to be Suma's character.
Oh,
The other furbolg. I'm blanking on her name.
Neela.
Neela, yes. I think it's going to be Neela.
Okay.
Or Caduceus will send to her. Because she's watching over his grove. And I think
That's
something's
more
gonna,
likely.
I think
Caduceus.
it's going to be, oh, I need to touch bases with her.
I actually think if Jester sends to anyone new, it's going to be Caliana.
Because she sent to Kiri this week.
She sent to Kiri. She knows about the package that Callie sent.
Yeah. She can ask us if anything perishable.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all we have time for. We will see you guys next week. And be good to each other.